Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Auburn Board of Health, Monday, February 24th. It is now 6:07 p.m. Good evening. First item on the agenda is to review the agenda, add or remove any items. All right. And next thing we have is, it's not on the agenda, but that's okay.
No.
We have a bill schedule. We have $60 from the MHOA. That is for community sanitation for Darlene to go to the class.
That just came in this morning, so I didn't have a chance to add it.
That's fine. I'll just take a look at that.
So we'll add that to the bills.
Sure.
The agenda.
All right, motion to approve bill schedule as presented.
Second. It is a vote.
Aye?
Aye. Oh, I feel low in this chair. I feel shorter than I actually am.
You want the high chair?
No, I'm good. I don't need the high chair. Okay, so we can skip the hearing right now. We got a few minutes before that's going to start. So, old business programs, goals, and objectives.
Okay, so for the prescription take back, I just wanted to let you know I have been monitoring the take back unit over at the police station. Last time I think I told you we had one thing in there. I went there this past Friday and we're almost full.
Okay.
So it seems like it's caught on like wildfire. I think people are using it, and I think we were kind of I was kind of waiting to get some in there in order to do that press release.
Yep.
Because we talked about doing a press release, and now I think it might be a good opportunity to be able to send out that, who's available when.
Yep.
I wanted to just connect with you because I know you had mentioned, to send it out. But if you have some preferences on if the board members want to be there, if you have a certain day or time, I can kind of gear it towards that because we're going to be sending it to the chamber, we're going to be sending it to Wheelabrator, and also to the police station because they're all partners in it.
Oh, definitely.
So obviously I'd love to have my
Yeah.
board there. Do you have any preferences on when you're available?
I'm better in the afternoon because I have some comp time I can take, so I have
Okay.
4 hours of comp time, so I can do something in the afternoon. It wouldn't be a
Like
problem.
at 3 o'clock?
Oh, I'd say 2 or 3, whatever works for
Okay.
everybody else. I would be fine
Okay.
with that.
Steve, does that work for you? Like an afternoon?
Mondays are usually the better days.
Okay.
The Mondays of the board meeting, I have a 3:30 obligation, but other than that,
Okay. Mondays, good
So,
for you? So you
sure.
could do like a Monday, 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock on a Monday would work fine.
But it would have to be the 1st or 3rd of the month because you can't do the 2nd and 4th because you got
No,
the
no.
3:30 obligation.
Well, how long of the presentation?
Oh, it depends.
Yeah, it's just gonna be like
Okay.
Yeah.
So any Monday works for you then,
Yeah.
as long as it's before 3:30.
All right, so I'll see if I can hit between 2
Or
and
after
3
4.
p.m.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I was kind of
Sure.
waiting for. Now I think it's a perfect time, and we'll be able to run through and actually see how it's going to go, because we're going to go with a police officer. We're going to take the ride to Wheelabrator, and they're going to, put the
Toss it in the
pharmaceuticals in the
Yep.
incinerator.
Are you
So
gonna
we'll
Are you
do
gonna
that.
look to do it that same day to kind of do?
Yeah, I can.
Because I would say that would actually be, you could do the whole thing and then take off with a police officer and whoever, if someone from Wheelabrator comes up, and it'd be like make it a whole big thing. And if Chris is doing any of the videotaping or anything like that, he may be able to follow you down and tape some of that too. It'd be
Yeah.
just really, I think it'd be amazing. It's something like that to show
Okay.
how it's going, and just to see if that works. Wheelabrator may say no, but it might not work for the police because if they get off
Yeah.
at 3,
Right.
so you'd have to just see how it would
Coordinate
work
with the
off.
chief in
Coordinate.
regards to
I know
that even
we
on
do
the
have
day.
one specific officer that's kind of assigned to us
Yep.
for that purpose.
So you wanna
but
make sure it
obviously,
would
yeah.
work.
So I'll try to coordinate if we can do it that day, but it's a perfect time now that bucket, I mean, there was a lot of medication, and it seems like people are really using it.
That's great.
So.
Clean out your your medicine cabinet.
Yeah, and you know what, it's a perfect time, we can kind of push that to when we have the hazardous waste day.
Mhm.
We can lead right into that, but hazardous waste day, clean out your hazards, and then I think they do something now with if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like the DEA and EPA, when you change the batteries in the smoke detector, they say, good time to check your medicine cabinet. So, okay, so I'll work on that in the next couple of Mondays. The Household Hazardous Waste Day, I just wanted to let you know, I have been speaking with several companies, and actually met with somebody this morning to get some quotes on the event. We've also reached out to the water department. In your packet,
Saw
you
the
see the
letter, yeah.
correspondence for any assistance that they can offer. I know in years past, they've sent over some of their workers, which have been a huge help. So we're reaching out to them. I think I told you previously, we already have kind of that promise from I think, Guiding Light, I believe.
Yep.
So they're gonna do the mercury. So we have, kind of some systems in place that will be able to, as soon as we're able to verify the day. I'm shooting for the 3rd of May. Obviously, we don't have that confirmed yet,
Yep.
but that was one of the 2 dates that you had expressed interest. And I think in years past, historically, you've had it in May, and it seems to be a good turnout, and the weather seems to cooperate. So, shooting for the May date. Obviously, we have the April date, and today I hope you don't mind, we did just a 3rd date, just because, just in case those 2 don't work, I went to the first week in June, to stay away from like the middle of June when there's, the high school graduations
Yep.
and college graduations. So I figured the first Saturday in June might be an option too, if the other 2 don't pan out.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know, I hope you're okay with that. But again, we're gonna shoot for the May date.
Yep.
Okay, so hopefully I'll have confirmation for you on that, soon, and then I'll present it to you, let you make sure.
Have you talked to the manager over at the ice arena?
No, because I don't want to,
Okay.
I'm kind of seeing who's available,
Okay.
and then once they're available for the day, I'm gonna check it with
I know last
FMC.
year we gave them 2 dates, and one of the dates they had something going on, and then, or the last time we did it, and we had to take the 2nd date.
Okay.
So I mean, just to make
Check
sure,
with
to,
FMC.
I wouldn't want to see us choose a date, have everybody ready, and then them say they can't do it because they have a tournament or something big
Yeah.
going on. So.
Well, it's like trying to figure out who to book first.
Yep.
You know,
Oh yeah,
trying
exactly.
trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
coordinate a whole bunch of people. So I will reach out to FMC. I think it's FMC, Facility Management Corporation, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And then emergency planning, we don't have anything new from a week ago or so.
Okay.
We figured out the notifications for emergencies, so we have those updated. Miss Sarah, our rep,
Region.
just had some good news.
Okay.
She had her baby
Oh, good.
recently, so she'll be back and meeting with us.
It's our 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Because the last 2 times I've
Yeah.
seen her, she's been pregnant.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, wow, it's been a while.
Girl power. I think they're
Yeah.
both girls, right?
Yeah.
Both girls,
Yeah.
Gracie.
So I'll be meeting with her in the next couple of weeks. We're trying to tie down a date right now. But I gave her the news about what we discussed from our last meeting, and we'll move forward from there. The one thing that I wanted to kind of just get for us, and just so we're all comfortable with it, is in the past, I've had kind of like a binder where we keep like all those updated documents so that everybody knows where, the binder is, and, all the board has a copy of anything that, if you get a call, you're like, who's this? So that you know who might be calling and who the contact people are. Obviously, Ray, you're very familiar with, with all the emergency planning reps, but, making sure Steve and Marion are comfortable as well.
Okay. Do you want to just hit on mosquitoes and then we'll move into the hearing?
Sure. Mosquitoes, we don't have any update right now. They have sent out their most recent notification forms, I think about a month or so ago. I included them in your
Yep,
packet.
I think it's ours, yeah.
So we have that on the website. The town clerk is aware of it. So all the emergency notification as far as if somebody doesn't want, or let's start with, if somebody is noticing a problem with mosquitoes and they want to request spraying, or they want to opt out for spraying, Central Mass Mosquito Control, who we are a part of, does allow for that. So you'd contact them directly. So we do have, from time to time, we have some people call the office, but we do put them in touch with Central Mass Mosquito Control, and they handle those calls directly.
Do we have a page on the public access for that?
We do.
Okay. You
You're
know,
talking,
on the charter cable, when they have just the announcement kind of things,
oh,
they
okay,
still do
on
that?
LCAC, I think,
Yes.
I think she put it on there,
Yes.
didn't she?
it
Yeah.
just kind of like, there it is, there's the
Yeah.
information,
Yeah.
we help
I'll
people.
double
Yeah.
check that.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll check it, but
As well
I'm
as
sure
with the
there
website,
is.
you know, as
Yeah,
much.
it's definitely on the
as-
website. I've seen it on the
as
website.
As many different places
have
we
seen
can
it,
put
right?
the
Yeah,
information.
in the past, they put it
It's
up on
no
the
cost to
website.
the town, it's a
Yeah.
service that's
Yeah.
there anyway, so.
Okay, I will check that, Steve, just to make sure. I literally went down myself, so I know the town clerk has it, and she's posted it in all of her areas. I will check, we can send Chris,
Hugo.
yeah, a request for that, so we'll get,
And I'm not
I
sure how
believe
much
I
are we-
sent
are
him an
we
email
utilizing
also.
that,
Yeah.
We're going to start
Yeah.
utilizing it more.
Yeah, I mean,
in the
for
past,
anything, we can just put up, here it is.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it flashes across the screen and.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
One more-
everything
one more.
that we put to the website should go to the LCAC, and I think you've
We've been doing that.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
All right. So at this time, it is 6:19. I'd like to open the hearing, 17 Arrowhead Ave, system inspection exclusion agreement issues. All right. So do we know if anybody's going to be coming in tonight?
I don't believe so. I
Okay.
spoke with Attorney Paul O'Brien,
Mhm.
actually just within the past hour. He was here for another matter, and he stated that,
You didn't think of
yeah,
okay.
he wasn't going to attend. He had another appointment, so we have the information from Attorney O'Brien. Hopefully you have it in your packet.
Yeah, I saw it.
So you have before you a proposed agreement, and that is going to be for 17 Arrowhead Ave in Auburn. Ruth Dumas is the current owner, and the prospective buyer is going to be Sparhawk Realty. Both of these have been named in this agreement, and this agreement has been proposed to the board for the purpose of a Title V inspection. So this property at 17 Arrowhead does have a septic system. These parties have agreed to, you know, through the purchase and sale and, you know, one is buying it from the other. Anytime there's a septic system, as you know, Title V inspection has to be done. Because of the age of the property and the system, it's believed that it would not pass inspection, which I'm sure none of you are surprised about.
Yep.
In Title V, specifically 310 CMR 15301, number 4, there's an exclusion available that allows, if a Title V is not to be done, the owner of the facility can actually have an enforceable agreement that's presented to the local approving authority to upgrade the system or connect the system to sanitary sewer, which is public sewer, as it's known, within the next 2 years following the transfer of title, provided that such agreement has been disclosed and is binding on the subsequent owner. So where we're at is I've actually spoken with both of the attorneys for these parties. So Attorney O'Brien is representing, I believe it's Sparhawk, and Attorney McCarthy, Maurice McCarthy, is representing Ms. Dumas. The attorneys have come to the agreement to present this to the board, and basically it comes before you. If the property does transfer, obviously it has not, they are looking to connect the property, and if you look, I believe it's on the second page, the top, under number 1, buyer at its expense unconditionally, irrevocably agrees to connect said premises to the town of public sewer on or before July 1st, 2014, time being of essence. So in speaking with Attorney O'Brien and Attorney Maurice McCarthy, I did say that this was allowed. Obviously, you wouldn't connect now with this weather.
Yeah.
Typically, there's, problems with this type of weather.
Yeah.
And so they would like the board's approval to be able to connect the property by July 1st, which I think is a reasonable time. They're looking, if, again, the property does transfer from the seller to the buyer is looking to do that. So it comes before you because it's actually a legal document, and we want to make sure that all parties are well aware that the board is going to follow enforcement on this. So do you have questions?
Well, that's the evidentiary part of the hearing, correct? So
Yes, sir.
no more evidence? So I will.
don't believe I have any more evidence.
Motion to close the evidentiary.
I second the motion. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, well, it's kind of cut and dry because if they were going to get an inspection done and it failed, they automatically, because there is the town sewer going in front of the house, they automatically have to hook up to the town sewer if there's a failure.
So we're
they're-
presumed failed, so.
yeah, it's one of
we're
those
gonna-
things where it's one of the oldest houses on the street, and it's got one of the probably oldest septic systems on the street. So yeah, I mean, I've never seen any leakage in the yard or anything like that. It's only right down the street. I jog by it all the time, so no issues there. But they are correct. There could be tree limbs in there. There could be issues. I read it and I said, they're just looking. They're saying it's probably going to fail, so let's just hook up to the town sewer. I have no issue with the July 1st because you don't want to dig in March because the ground's too soggy and wet, and then May, the best time is May and June to do the work. So I have no issue with it. I don't know if you have any questions. I mean, it follows code. Everything they've done follows code. And
Have we signed the agreements before like this? This is the first time I've seen an agreement actually
I
printed
have
up
in the
like this.
past. We've signed an agreement. We signed the original.
Yeah.
After I've signed 2 in the 5 years
Yeah.
I've been on the board.
Yeah, I mean,
So they don't come in front of us too often.
previously with George and with Andy, we've gone through a number of these, I seem to recall, but
I
never
don't
with,
ever remember.
we've issued orders, but.
I've signed 2 since I've been on the board.
Yeah.
Andy had me sign 1, and no, we didn't sign the other one because
Yeah.
we didn't pass it. But the one we did pass, myself, Marion, and who was on the board at that time? It was just me and Marion. It was when there's just 2 of us. I
I
signed
don't
one.
remember it.
I remember. I signed one.
My only other question is, on page 2, number 1, buyer at its expense unconditionally or irrevocably agrees to connect said premises to the town public sewer on or before July 1st. Does that include the appropriate and proper decommissioning of the old system
Absolutely.
under that generic phrase?
Right, so
Okay.
as part of when the,
Because I know
so
under...
when,
I'm
oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I know I recall from previous approvals of variance requests, those types of things would have been outlined.
Yeah.
This agreement does not
Does not
specify
specify.
decommissioning the old system. So that would be my only kind of like, do we need to also write orders to
follow.
them or
Right.
just,
Well, we can put that in our motion.
So you, right, so.
but if it's part of the normal, I
Yeah.
understand the whole principle behind Title V and the timeline and everything, I'm perfectly fine. It's just, I'm not a lawyer,
No,
Here's the,
so I want to be sure we cover all our bases.
Oh, yeah,
right,
exactly.
We don't
how
have
that
an old
would,
cesspool sitting in the backyard.
Exactly.
how that would normally go is when the applicant goes to pull a permit to connect to public sewer at the sewer department, they would notify them at that time that they have to contact the Board of Health to abandon the
Okay.
existing system and pump it. Now, I can tell you, you know, it's a good thing that you're asking that, because I can tell you it's one of the things that I think that we want to make sure that we make that connection, because not everybody, you know, may call at the time of connection. We've had, over the past several months, some people call after it's already connected, and it's like, okay, no, you need to call
And leave the
before.
basement toilet
Yeah.
set
The
up to
sewer
it.
department
and
usually
the
gives them
downstairs shower
the
and wash.
Yeah, exactly.
I
decommissioning
think we've
had
form
that issue
and the
before.
green card.
Yeah, so unless they have, the sewer commission is very good about letting them know, hey, okay, so here's your permit, you need to make sure you contact the Board of Health to take care of what their requirements are.
Right.
Now, I can tell you, when we go to see a septic system abandonment, I require the pump slip with the gallons identified, how many were pumped. The pump slip has to come from a licensed hauler that we license, and then we actually have to be on site when they decommission it. Now, unless there's some nature, what am I trying to say?
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary purposes, or, you know, that we were in the middle of a, you know, and I've
Very
seen
wet.
a hurricane, or, you know, something that came about, a microburst or something, where we weren't able to let you know, or I couldn't make it out. But we've had a couple in the past year, or the past 6 months, I should say, since Andy has been gone, and, you know, we impress upon them, look, this is not something you do after the fact, it's something you make your plans before. So, you can put that upon the condition, to make sure that they follow the procedure. Obviously, it's a procedure already in place.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I said, the sewer department does it very well.
Yep.
But it doesn't hurt to, because this is specifically coming before you, it doesn't hurt to say
Right.
that they have to abandon the existing system properly with notification prior to the connection. The other thing that I would offer for this is that, obviously, this time right now, with the exception of the past couple of days, it has been just brutal weather. So we're giving them till July 1st to connect, but when the weather breaks and things start melting and so forth, I will monitor the property. And I know, you know, Ray, you're close by.
Yeah.
But I will monitor the property, because I have no reason to know if it's in breakout right now.
Can you see it from your office?
I don't.
Close.
Nice.
So,
On the other side.
you know, we'll
Yeah, it's on the
monitor,
other
if it's in breakout, I did speak with Attorney O'Brien, and just let him know it may have to be sooner than the July 1st, and he understood.
Yeah.
You know, that's a basic principle just with any property.
Yep.
If we had sewage spilling out over to the ground, obviously we can't say, oh, well, you have until July 1st, so, you know, it's kind of some common sense principles, but they did understand. They did understand that, so that would just be the only other thing that, at least we're in discussion about it, that we would want to just make sure we impress upon that.
Okay. Any other discussion?
That I can think of.
I'll entertain a motion
All right.
to close discovery before we go to the motion.
I shall move to close our discovery and discussion.
I second the motion. How do you vote?
Aye?
Aye. Okay, so now it's all up to you.
I'll move that we approve the requested exclusion from Title V inspection for property at 17 Arrowhead Ave. Execute the agreement as presented by attorneys, with the stipulation that the appropriate protocols and policies are followed with the abandonment of the existing system. And should such system show
Break up.
breakout
breakout.
or obvious signs of failure prior to the deadline date as proposed in the executed judge agreement? That the time frame.
You lost me after agreement.
Uh,
Execute the
So
agreement.
approve with the execute the agreement and the appropriate abandonment of the current system.
And the appropriate abandonment.
Following all policies and blah, 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 blah.
I just want to be sure that.
No, I
Because
know.
I'm just, again, I'm not a lawyer and
And all
I know that's part of the
policies.
normal standard
Yep.
operating procedure, but it's not specified in the agreement that they're
Definitely.
going to
And all
abandon the system. I want to be
policies
sure it's
adhered
part
to.
of our,
Mhm.
yeah. Thank you.
Oh, my-
Sorry.
I second that motion.
Thank you.
Because it is going to be with a binding legal agreement, it is a roll call vote. Steve, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ray votes aye, 2-0 to.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I actually have the original document here.
Okay.
If you guys want to
Sure.
sign it.
And I'll take a motion to close the hearing.
A motion to close the hearing.
Oh,
Second the motion.
Can we sign it now, though?
Yeah, we can sign it.
Okay.
Because we already voted and passed,
Mhm.
so. There's yours.
Thank you. Oops.
That's all right. Boom.
Just a stutter.
That's all right.
Okay, so I'm not actually going to change that document. It's, I
No.
think,
No.
the fact that you have those conditions, those two conditions
Mhm.
are
It'll be in
in
the
the
record.
minutes.
Mhm.
So I think, God forbid there's any problems, we can refer to
The
what
minute,
was
we-
voted.
Right.
Yeah.
What you can always do is, once the minutes are done, we can always include a section of the minutes with, when you send it back or whatever.
Sure.
Okay, at this point, we can move on to new business. Once Darlene gets all put together.
Alright, okay.
With our 400 pages of notes for tonight.
All right, so I wanted to, I think I gave you the update for this. All right, I gave you the update for that. New business. I just wanted to let you know we are in the process of doing the annual town report. This is the time of year when we put all those numbers and so forth together. We are trying to get everything put in one place so that we're able to present a document for the town report. So I will kind of keep you updated on that. We also have, I'm proud to let you know, we survived all the late fees and the paperwork from the past several meetings that we've been discussing. And we have all the late fees except one received, but it's in process. So we at least have that under control. Paula was able, she really put stuff together last week and put some pressure on her, but she got out the majority of all the permits and all of the paperwork. So there was a lot of work to do for that. We still have some remaining ones, but I just wanted to let you know we're in a much better spot from the last meeting. So we have a lot of good work that was done, and Paula did her lion's share and still survived. Okay. So for animals, I wanted to let you know I've been working with the animal control officer to be able to. We have some animal complaints and animal issues that we've been working through with her. We've done some outreach, some site visits. We've been pretty active with several cases, but we have been resolving them. I think I had mentioned in a previous meeting, the animal permits that we are looking at. We have the barn inspections that were done and completed. Just trying to connect with the animal inspector to get a copy of those. And from that, we'll be able to see where we need to be as far as what is being permitted and what needs to be permitted. One of the things that we've kind of learned through the process is that for purposes with Department of Agriculture, part of the reason that it's so important for us to know where all the animals are in town, not just maybe the couple of permits that we have, is, God forbid, we have some sort of outbreak of flu, bird flu, something that, affects the agricultural animals. We want to know in town where those are, because historically, we don't want to be able to see any sort of disease or affliction that affects an animal make the jump to a human.
Yep.
So that's kind of what our role, I see as the Board of Health, is making sure that, yes, we're looking at the town as a whole, but we're looking at it so that we can see where our animals are in town, see what needs to be permitted, what qualifies for an exclusion under Department of Agriculture. So we've gotten a lot of information. It's very active right now, very dynamic. And so I just wanted to let you know we are actively working on that. It's kind of a lot of information to take and process. So, we are going forward. So we are permitting animals. So anybody that comes in that wants an animal permit, we're permitting them. But I don't necessarily charge for the permit depending on what it is. So, if somebody's coming in for a permit for a chicken, it's not going to be the same as a qualifying event for, say, an animal permit for a working cow farm. So I just wanted to at least let you know that those fees and permits are going to come to you in the near future. Okay, and I thought it might be good for you to actually maybe have the inspectors here, the animal control officer, maybe the animal inspector, if we can invite them to a meeting, because they know all about these laws. They work with them all the time. They work with them every day, and what better information is to get them right from them.
That's great.
So that's kind of what I was thinking. Obviously, if you're okay with that, that's what my vision is. Sound okay?
Yep, sounds
Okay.
good.
Solid waste, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee is meeting regularly. They do expect to be rolling out some information on the compost bins. We were able to get and again, we assist with solid waste. We're not a voting member, but we assist in their vision. But we were able to work with them, and Amy Sullivan, who's the recycling coordinator, who's wonderful, she was able to get a grant from DEP that allowed the purchase of compost bins. Those bins are actually in. If I thought of it, I should have brought one today. I'll bring it to the next meeting, but they're fabulous.
Really?
They're pretty good size. They're working out the pricing right now, so it's going to be perfect timing actually for spring to be able to put those bins out for the residents they'll be for sale. Through the grant, I think they are going to be selling for less than what you'd get it at, say, a Home Depot or a Lowe's or where you buy compost bins. So it's actually going to be a great benefit to the residents, and somebody who's never composted before will be able to have some education.
Are they going to do the education piece of
Absolutely.
what compost, how
Yes.
compost, and stuff like that? That's great.
She's already working on some really nice flyers and some educational material on getting people started. So if you've never composted before, you'll at least kind of, okay, what do I do with this thing? You know, because it's pretty big. It's bigger than I thought.
Yeah, they're
Um,
big barrel
yeah.
on their legs and whatever,
Yeah.
how they do them, but that's
So,
great.
The
So,
Extension Service has some pretty good
Yeah.
educational things. It's a lot of
Yeah.
We should do a
information.
training video.
yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe we'll do something kind of exciting.
If there wasn't everything, like if the household hazardous waste, there wasn't such a big movement thing, I'd say, hey, have her bring one there to show, but
Yeah.
the problem is, we gotta keep people
Yeah.
moving on that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, that's right.
Do we have any other local town events? I mean, if they can set up on the July 4th weekend on
Yeah,
a tent or
that's
something
nice.
like that,
Yeah.
just to show people.
If we
Yeah.
have any left.
Yeah, I know, but if they sell, yeah, if they sell out by then, but you know,
So, you know, they've done great things on that committee, and
Mhm.
I think that it's going to be just the perfect time. You know, come springtime, people will be able to buy a compost bin if they want,
Mhm.
and they're going to be able to get it at a good price.
Yep.
You know, so I just wanted to at least let you know that that committee is very active and working on a lot of really good things.
Good.
Should I keep going?
oh yeah,
Okay.
keep moving.
Inspections, I wanted to give you an update on something that actually happened today. So we had issued a cease and desist on a couple of establishments. I think at last meeting I had told you one of them had closed.
Yep.
The other one was Johnny's Catering.
Mhm.
John actually came in today
Okay.
and informed me that he does intend to keep the business going. He had the truck that he had had gotten totaled, so he had unfortunately a turn of events that he couldn't control.
Okay.
So he is looking to keep the business going, so we were thrilled to hear that.
Good.
He, like I said in the past, he's been very responsive. So now that he is borrowing another vendor's truck, somebody that had gone out of business, and he's in the process of buying his own truck. So I at least wanted to let you know that, just to close the loop
Yep.
for that one, because that had been kind of out there. So we have at least some response. He's going to be getting the necessary paperwork. He's already working on, he brought in some, he's working on the rest of it. So we'll be able to get him up and running by, hopefully by midweek.
Good.
Okay, so he's not operating now, but he will be inspected later this week.
Good.
So I just at least wanted to let you know about that.
Mhm.
You had asked about some numbers from when, in previous months, about inspections and so
Mhm.
forth. So I at least wanted to let you know, we did 4, obviously, right now, by myself.
Oh, yeah.
We have an inspector that's going to be starting hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to be able to, you know, move forward in the right direction to get us where we need to be. When I was in my first 6 months here, I had gotten inspections up to 70%.
Okay.
And I don't know if you got those numbers in the past, or you know, if you were aware of them. So in the first 6 months, I was able to get it to approximately 71%. The 6 months after that, they were hovering about 50%.
Yep.
From that, in that time, we had, if you remember, we had licensed our first camp here
Mhm.
for the town. So the town had an exemption for camp, but we wanted to kind of provide some more safety and putting some more protocols as far as getting things licensed. So we had it hovering at about 50%. Obviously, in the last 6 months, since I've been by myself, we've been
Yeah.
responding to, you know, complaints and emergencies. We've had quite a few emergencies.
Putting out fires.
yeah.
That's what happens when you're by
Yeah.
yourself.
But, you know, obviously with the frigid temps, we've had several water pipe breaks. We've had, you know, vehicles going into businesses. So we've had, it's definitely been busy,
Mhm.
but they're more immediate concerns, emergencies, and so forth, and that's what kind of how we're operating. So our goal, I think, obviously, is to get to where we need to be. In speaking with you about what your vision is, I think Andy had put in previous reports and so forth that his goal was to get to 70%, and to kind of maintain that. I kind of read through some of the old reports and so forth, with the amount of establishments and the size of the town and kind of the demand on what happens here, because it's like a small city. He was, I think, shooting for 70%. Obviously, I think that if we're able to shoot for 100%, I mean, that's a lofty goal. You know, I think at least if we are able to, you know, to shoot for that 70, to try to go for 100, I mean, is really what we want to be at. In order to do that, we have approximately about 170 establishments or so. Does that sound right, Paula? So about 170 establishments, which means we would have to do approximately 340 inspections a year.
And that's not including re-inspections.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Which I think is where his rationale came in about the 70%. You know,
Yep.
realistically, if you're going to do things, you know, right, you want to do the inspections, you want to have the follow-up, you want to have that relationship, you want to make sure that, you know, things are, did things get rectified? Are they, you know, understanding what needs to happen, and is it happening? So, you know, in order to do that, we would have to do at minimum 7 inspections a week, not including 7 new inspections, not including the re-inspections and the follow-up and the phone calls and everything that comes with it. I think that is something that we can shoot for. I think that's reasonable. Obviously, that I think once we have somebody in place and being able to handle the inspections, obviously it's going to be a little bit of a, you know, getting on board and getting trained as to how we do things here and so forth. But I think the experience should be there to be able to handle it. So I wanted to just, you know, kind of get your thoughts and make sure I'm on track with what your goals are and so forth, and try to be able to kind of give you some numbers. I probably won't be able to give you numbers right away, but I can at least kind of let you know where we're heading towards and where we're at and where we're going. One of the things that I also wanted to just let you know, when I first came on the board, one of the goals, I think, was to get all those temporaries and all those food events that were happening that maybe weren't being permitted. And that was a huge, you know, kind of, I think one of your goals,
Yeah.
you know, I remember you saying specifically to me, right, that was something that you wanted to see.
A lot of unlicensed things going on, and
Yeah.
we don't, if somebody gets sick, we're still,
Yes,
you know,
liable.
so we're still kind of liable for
Yeah.
that. So yeah, that was one of our big things, is we were missing a lot. We'd drive by and say, I'd call Andy, Andy, do you know something's going on at this
Right.
church? He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, we have to catch all these little things, and I understand you're going to have your establishments that are already there and established, and then you're going to have your temporary, and you're going to have your church functions and your meetings. You know, sometimes the car dealerships will do cookout for their staff and everything like that. And we had them for a while. They were calling us and doing stuff like that, so it's great. We just got to keep people in that same respect. We're only here for safety. We don't want somebody. It's better for them to call us and have us go out and do something. And I know it's going to take away, because a lot of times those things are on Saturdays. So someone's going to come out on Saturday. They're going to lose time during the week, and we get that. And I think we can allow for that, because we're going to be catching these other things that are going on that we weren't catching in the past.
Right.
That was a big thing. I mean, we found, and I don't know how many, the summertime, I think we found 7 or 8 unlicensed places going on. different things that Andy and I had noticed, and I think that was even before Matt got here and after Matt got here, we were having those issues. So that was one of my biggest concerns is we don't know what these people are doing. They're having events, and I mean, I don't know how many times we drove by one Heritage Plaza and there was cookout going on right in the middle of the parking lot that we had no clue about. So I think that's great that you started catching those, and we noticed it right away when you started catching those, and that's,
A
I
lot
think
of
it's
them
huge.
have, we've been getting a lot of phone calls. I'm planning on having an event, and I understand I have to get a permit.
Yep.
I mean, I can tell you that I took very serious, you know what I mean? When you
Yep.
said that is something I feel like we have made a huge stride.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in the past year, you know, little over, I feel like people really do pay attention now, you know, as far as, I mean, Paula knows. Paula, I need you to print up this permit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we sit down, we make sure we have the paperwork. She feels more comfortable speaking with people when they come in, you know, as to, she knows what I'm gonna be asking, you know, so I think that I can honestly say, I feel like that was one of the goals that I feel like we definitely improved
Oh,
upon.
definitely. My fear about these, I don't want to say fly by night, but when they do these events, we don't know who's Surf Safe certified, if they
Right.
know anything about allergens, if they're doing things right, if they're washing their hands. At least with an established restaurant, if you have to push them off a week or 2 weeks because you have this other stuff, you know that they have policies in place, that you've already been going to see them. Some of these people have never seen you when they have one of these things going on. So
Right.
if you get in there the first time and you explain to them, you give them a checklist, like I did that in Oxford when I did the tercentennial, I brought in a checklist, I handed one to everybody. I said, give this to them before they open their booth so they know what I'm looking for. And that way, boom, when I went in, they had the sanitizer, they had the hand wash barrels, they had whatever they
She did
needed.
that, yeah.
Well, and I understand that. So it's that way they know what you're looking for, and it just makes it easier because we're just here to keep people safe. We don't want, we're not here just because we're the Board of Health and we're gonna come in and check on you. It's to keep the people in town safe, and that's what I look for, so. But no, I did notice, and I mean, Paula had said to me about a few months back, I think right after the summer, Ray, I didn't realize how many of these things we had going on. You don't know how many permits I put out. I mean, not in those words, but it was the same thing. I've sent out so many temporary permits because in the past we weren't catching it, and you came in and you started catching them all, and that's a great thing.
So, I mean, obviously, we're gonna continue doing that. I
Mhm.
think that, you know, kind of really, the community has really responded to.
Yep.
People pick up the phone now, you know what I mean? People call Paula, I mean, she can tell you, even if I didn't speak, you know, I mean, she can tell you how many calls she gets for it. So, I think that we've definitely moved forward in the right direction.
Good.
Obviously, we'll get where we need to be for the brick and mortar places.
Mhm.
And I feel confident saying that in 6 months, we're gonna be a whole lot better than where we stand right now. So, I will continue to, you know, kind of let you know, if you just give me some time to do what I need to do
Oh, we
and
understand
get the inspector on their way. And, you know, in a couple weeks when they start, we'll be on our way.
So, just a quick question before we move on.
Yes.
Do you keep files of your temporary permits? Like, do you have a file for the, you know, fall, summer? How do you do it, or you just do it by? How do you usually file those?
So we actually have the temporaries. It's funny that you asked this because we have files for all the temporaries. Now, what I've noticed since I've been here is that a lot of the places that maybe weren't ever licensed before, these are annual events.
Yeah.
You know, so
So
what
that's
what
right.
you're
That's what I was
talking
looking about is to see if they're coming back.
So
And, you know.
it's funny you say that because we had one literally yesterday.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about. We had one that came in and I said, Paula, where's that paperwork?
Yeah.
So we went back to last year's when we had the same event. And we pulled it out and it was, okay, let's get the most updated information.
Yep.
So let's get what they're doing this year. Who's got the Serve Safe? Who's got the allergen? Do we have those certificates? Do we have any permits on file? So it really gets easier.
Yep.
The you know, kind of the longer you're here and the more you see and you go through the kind of the throes of it, it gets easier because I tell Paula all the time, it's like, okay, I know this is hard right now and I know it's tedious, but by keeping good records, we're able to improve our efficiency.
Especially when I know people come to the counter and they say, I just can't remember. You pull up the file, okay, this is what you did last time, and then you
Yeah.
have all the information you need.
And people like that,
Yeah,
actually.
it's easier
Makes
for
it
them.
easy,
They come
yeah.
in, hey, do you have my file from last year? Because I
Yeah.
can't remember what I wrote down right here, and
Yeah.
it's, we run into the same thing, and I think it's
Yeah.
great.
Good.
So that's good. And we keep our temporaries separate, like you're doing in the files, because at the end of the year, when we have our 487 brick and mortar places,
Yep.
and then we did 175 last year temporaries. But we also have a big temporary event. We have the Taste of Metro West. We have 92 permits in one building for the day. They're all
Wow.
individual booths. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's 62. We had another 30 for another event, but that's the way we do it. So we know how many permits go out for the year, and I think that's great. And then with your
Would you
Lo-
like to, I'm just thinking out loud, it might be a good idea if we keep a separate tally for our temporaries.
I think
'Cause you-
it's going to help you out too,
Yeah.
because that's going to come down to, hey guys, this month we were at 72%, but we had 27 temporary permits we had to get
Right.
out on. It's
Yeah.
going to help you guys with your numbers too, because that one's not going to really go with the state mandated numbers of 100%, because it's different
Right.
numbers. So if you keep a separate tally, it's going to help you with numbers that, yeah, we were only at 68%, but we did 50 temporaries this month.
Sure.
So I think it's going to help you guys. It's going to let us know what,
The time
Yeah.
from the.
Yeah.
because
Right.
we
It
know
takes
it's
a
going
lot of time.
Oh yeah, temporaries take more time than the restaurants do,
Absolutely.
because you have to explain to everybody and all that. So what I was going to say too is, have you, well, this can be when your new inspector starts, is maybe go through the list and pull out your low risk and see if you can get that letter from the Attorney General's. Is it DPH?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get that letter from DPH. DPH says now some of these low risk, like your gas stations that just have soda and chips, can be done once a year with a secondary phone call like towards the end of the year. Have you added hot dogs or coffee? Have you added anything like that? If they say no, thank you very much. We'll see you next year. It kind of makes things a little easier and cuts back on some of your inspections, so
Yeah.
you can spend the time on your, your huge stores and everything like that. So, excellent. What's next?
So I think the last thing is going to be, we don't have any update for communicable disease because you got the report at the last meeting.
Yep.
So there's nothing new since then. I also did reach out to Cheryl. I spoke to her today, and she's putting together our annual report numbers for that as well. So we'll be able to give you,
Cool.
some accurate numbers on that. The next meeting dates. So the 2nd and 4th. Did you want to continue with the twice a month, or as needed?
We've always done as needed for the 2 a month. Right now, do we have anything pressing coming up? Like at the beginning of the year, we always have the trash. Like right around June, when the bills go out. Usually the month after, we have at least 2 meetings
For the-
because
the
abatements and all that stuff. And we've done that with Andy in the past. And usually we didn't. If there's something coming up, flu clinic, we always make sure we have a meeting before the flu clinic, a meeting after. So that one's all going to come down to what you have for us.
Okay.
If there's stuff coming up, like we can set the dates, and then we do the March 10th, and you can say, hey, look, I don't have anything unless something pressing comes up in the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
Maybe we table the 24th,
Okay.
and we can do it that way. I would set the dates ahead of time, so if something does come up, we're already locked in for a date.
Okay.
That way, we're not trying to find, hey, can we meet this day? Can we meet that day? It might be easier if we just do it that way. I don't know if
No,
you're okay with that.
definitely works
Set the
easier.
dates, and then if we need to, it's easier to table than to try and bring one on
Sure.
after.
The, yeah, I mean, if we don't have any hearings, if I don't have anything, pressing, then we can, see where you're at, and if you want to go to the next
Yep.
normal date.
Yeah.
I think the next big thing that we'll have, because obviously flu clinics, we've tied that up now.
Yep.
I'm just dealing with the flu billing part, so that becomes the nightmare with the paperwork.
Hey, your nightmare, not ours.
Yeah. So we actually got something in today, so I'll chase that. But the next big thing, I think, will be just the hazardous waste.
Yes.
So once
Yep.
we get that under control, I'll be able to kind of we can do a meeting.
Yep.
I'll let you know where I'm at, what we have scheduled, what we still need help with, and kind of go from there. That'll be the next big thing. Does that sound okay?
Sounds fine.
Okay. All right, that's all I
So
have.
the March 10th.
So
and
March
the
10th and
20th.
24th, we'll put
Okay.
them on with possibility of tabling the 24th if there's nothing going on. Or table the
Or the
10th.
10th.
Or the
Right.
10th. If you find there's nothing going on, you can send us an email saying,
Yep.
we have nothing, no hearings, let's do the 24th. It'll get us
Yeah.
closer
Mhm,
to,
mhm.
you could still be working with your vendors on the, for the Household Hazardous
Yeah.
Waste Day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I'm fine with that.
Sound okay?
Sounds great to me. So at this point,
Anything else?
no. You
Motion
got
to
anything?
adjourn?
I second that motion. Good
All right.
night.